I kept saying to them, listen, I know my baby's going to die. And they were like, no. I'll be on that programme and my baby will. And my mum and dad went, oh, I wanted everyone to see him. I was like, oh, come and see him.
Yeah, you're proud yourself.
Come and see my baby. But not everyone wants to see a dead baby. And I get that now. But didn't at the time. So I never thought anyone would love me because I thought there's too much baggage, isn't there? Like, what, a waffle and mess, because that's what I was. And as I'm sitting there, facing me as the door that I'd been in, the last time I'd been on the unit was there, the room where he died in, and I was just like, if I don't get this now, I've completely fucked my life. Found out I was pregnant with our doll on his fifth birthday, and it come on in, you're anxious, your baby's died, you're just an anxious mum. And I was going, no, you're not listening to me. What if a seagull comes down and swoops it up? I mean, we're like, to neonatal units, we've given them to charities, we've given them to schools.
And obviously then you went on and had Donnie. But like we've mentioned before, your pregnancies have not been the easiest of rides. What kills me is that in 2024, you were still getting pressured to terminate your baby.
It was every time we went, have you thought about having an amnio? Have you thought about having a termination? Our words are called spellings for a reason, because it's a spell. Like, everything we speak out, I want to show people that anything's fucking possible. Just go out and get it.
Yeah.
And you're closer than you think.
Hello and welcome to Becoming Lucy with me, Hannah.
And me, Lucy. So today's episode is one that we've held with a lot of care. We're talking about motherhood, loss, faith, and the kind of strength you don't choose but somehow find.
Yeah, it's about grief that doesn't disappear. It just changes shape, and becoming a mother again and again while carrying the memory of a child who isn't physically here.
Our guest today is Amy Draper. She's a mum of 5, a former neonatal nurse, a property and intermediate. I can't even say it before.
Entrepreneur.
That's the one. And a woman whose life is deeply shaped by obviously love, loss, and belief.
Amy became a mum at just 18 when her first baby, Charlie, was born prematurely and died at 12 days old. What followed was not just heartbreak, but purpose.
Then she retrained as a neonatal nurse and went on to work on the very unit where her son was cared for. She since has 4 more children, each with their very own story, challenges and miracles.
And most recently, Amy welcomed her son, Donnie, whose diagnosis of a rare genetic condition in Arsog-Scott syndrome has led her to speak out to raise awareness and advocate for families navigating the unknown.
And this conversation isn't about fixing grief. It's about living alongside it and about who we become when life doesn't go quite to plan.
So Amy, we're so excited to start chatting to you. So welcome to Becoming Lucy.
Hi, girls. Lovely to see you.
Lovely to meet you. And can I just say, I fucking love a Scouse accent. So I'm so excited to talk to you and hear it all in a Scouse accent. But yes, before we get started, obviously we don't know you. You've reached out to us and very kindly said you wanted to share your story on our podcast, which we're super grateful for. However, you have got connections to one of our other guests, haven't you?
Yeah. Lovely Tink, who shared her story around breast cancer and how she dealt with it, is just so lovely, so inspirational, and actually sort of led me onto this path to you girls. So it was just great.
Oh, thank you, Tink.
Thanks, Tink. Before we go into your story, Amy, obviously we're going to talk about motherhood and everything else. We want to meet you. So who was Amy before family life and before being a mum?
Well, it's nearly I've nearly been a mum for half my life, which is just mad. Next year I will be. No, sorry, the year after. And it feels like motherhood has changed my life so much. And before this, I was just a party girl. I was just a kid. I was a teenager, just wanted to go out and I was a hairdresser as well. And I love that. And I love being a women's company. And I love being in that sort of sweet spot, that safer place where women open up. And women and men, when you're in their personal space, they do tend to
Mhm.
speak the truths, and it's lovely, and it sort of intrigued me so much so that I've sort of gone back to that in my aesthetic career, which I absolutely love. But yeah, it taught me lots about life, and hairdressing taught me loads of skills. And I wasn't the best hairdresser by no means, but I just liked the gap.
Also, when you were talking about like being a hairdresser and being around those women, do you think that's what spurred you on to become and want to be a mother at a young age, or was it a surprise? Had you planned it? How did you meet your husband?
Well, so my husband is the children of our 4 children. So, the children we've got now,
Mhm.
the man for Charlie's dad wasn't actually my husband. He was, oh, I don't really know how to put it. We were sort of like, um, what's the way? Like, it wasn't a one night stand, but it wasn't a
Fuck buddies?
Like friends with benefits, like situationship.
like a situationship.
Well, I think all those 3 match, right?
Yeah. So, that was a bit of a weird one because he was older than me, quite significantly older than me. And it was a strange one. So we went our separate ways, and that was it really.
Yeah.
When I was about 4 months pregnant, we split up because he'd actually been with another woman who we'd been with before, and which is fine, do you know what I mean?
Mm.
And she was pregnant as well, and I
Oh,
was
geez.
it was a mess. It anyway, it didn't work, and we went our separate ways. And then I had Charlie, and then I had him at 32 weeks as well.
Right.
So it was quite early. And then he only lived for 12 days. And obviously I wasn't getting any maternity pay, and I wasn't getting any maternity leave either. And you're not entitled well, you weren't in 2010 entitled to any of that, like bereavement pay, or I don't even actually know whether that it's a thing now. So I had to return to work, and I returned to work on Christmas Eve. And everyone was like, "How's the baby?" Like, clients who were coming in, and I was just like, "Oh my God, I can't do this." And then I sort of thought, time for a change, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So
After,
you were party girl. Let's circle back to Amy.
yeah,
Party girl, hairdresser, loving being in that space, obviously talking with women in that vulnerable sort of space, talking to each other. You then fell pregnant with Charlie. And obviously, as we've just alluded to, obviously your first baby, and we said in the intro, he was born prematurely. And as you've just heartbreakingly told us then, he obviously survived 12 days. So let's talk about the pregnancy and his birth and what led up to his premature death as well. Talk to us about Charlie.
So he had this thing called gastroschisis, which is where the bowel is on the outside of the body. So the baby's born, and the bowel, you can see it all outside the body. When the baby's formed, they form like that, and he never completely formed in.
Right.
So we knew that there was going to be complications and surgery needed. And when you're 19 and younger in the UK, you get a special midwife called under 19, 0 to 19 or something like that. And I'd had a little bit of like leakage, like during the night. And I showed my mum. My mum's had 3 children. I was living with my mum and dad's.
Yeah.
And my mum had had 3 children, and she looked at him. She was like, "Oh, babe, I think you've just wet yourself." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, probably have." Because,
Yeah, when you're pregnant, all you do is piss.
exactly. I was like, I think I have something. So just carried on, went to work the next day. It was just getting a little bit heavy, no gushes or not like that, just like a little bit of thinking. But we'd had, like, during this period, we'd had loads of scans in fetal medicine. We'd had, trips to see the neonatal unit, trips to go to see surgery, to, like preparation and all that. So, anyway, basically, my midwife rang me as I'd finished work that day. And I'd said, "Hey, listen, I've got this leakage, and I think I'm wetting myself all the time, and I don't know what to do." And she was like, I'm coming now.
Mm.
And I was like, what do you mean you're coming? She was like, where are you? I'm coming to pick you up. I was like, oh, no, I'm going out. I was going to town that night. I was going to see it in a month. And she was like, no. I was like, well, I need a shower. I can't go to the women's. I'm going to stink. She was like, she stood outside the door. It was like, get the shower. You can have 1 minute in there, and then you get out and you go to the women's. And I was like, I was like, the baby's not going to come now. It's like 8 weeks early. And they were like, well, we don't know that yet. Just go.
Mm.
And then when I went, I didn't come back out until the baby was born. So I went in and I just thought, and they said, oh yeah, your waters have gone. There wasn't. We've got a test now called an amniosure test, and it's a bit like a pregnancy test. You dip it to see if there's amniotic fluid in it, like coming out. But they didn't have that then. They just used to like look in and see if there was pools of water.
So is that what the leakage was then? It was your fluid coming out, basically. Your waters had broken.
My waters had gone, yeah. It just hadn't, like, because everyone has a different experience. Some people like have a massive gush and some people just have a trickle, don't they?
Yeah. Mine was half and half.
So, you have 4, I think, well, I'm not a midwife, but I think you have 4 waters and hind waters or something. There's like 2 bags, isn't there?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like, you just imagine, because you see it on movies, that it just gushes. And like you just said, everyone has a different experience. And I was literally half and half. The other half came out in the birthing pool. Looked like a jellyfish, Rob said. Anyway.
So went in, and then I just assumed, well, my waters have gone, so I'm going to have a baby, because I mean, you don't know a lot when you're 18, do you? Especially not about birth or, anything like that. And they were like, oh, no, you're going to be staying here until we feel it's ready for the baby, or you start contracting. So I was like, well, can my mum stay? And they were like, no. And I was like, oh, okay then.
Yeah.
I'll just be here. And then I felt quite vulnerable because I was quite young, and although I was quite streetwise and, like, I wasn't soft, but I was just like, oh God, I can't be doing this on my own.
I think, to be honest, Amy, like, whatever age you are, if it's your first pregnancy, I would have felt the same as you, and I was 35. So I don't think there was anything like wrong with you feeling that way. Absolutely. And obviously, you're being told that your waters are breaking 8 weeks earlier than, it's meant to. There's obviously going to be some issues with Charlie. So absolutely, you're going to be shitting yourself.
And the fact that your hormones on
Yeah.
top and everything
literally.
else.
So, God, I could only just feel for you being 18 and in this hospital. And like you said, you was meant to be going theatre with your mum. Now you're in the hospital. Like,
so how many weeks? So what weeks? Then Charlie was born at 32 weeks, wasn't he?
Yes. So this was like about 3 days before that.
Oh,
it was
right.
like
So it wasn't much
31.
longer.
No, it wasn't much longer.
Just to educate me, for people who don't have children who might forget, what's the full term for a baby again?
40.
40, there we
That's
go.
why it's 40 minus 8 is 32, Liz.
It doesn't matter what maths you give me, it ain't going to work. I need literally structured numbers.
So you're in the hospital, your mum's not there. They're telling you, basically, we're just going to monitor you, see what happens.
Yeah.
And then what went on then?
And then I did start contracting then. And after about a day, so they were like, oh, we'll just sit on you, you'll be fine, you blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, fine, whatever, you know what you're doing. I haven't got a clue, so whatever. And you don't feel like you can advocate for yourself when you're young, whereas like as a woman, and as a woman who's birthed a lot of babies, in subsequent pregnancies, I have advocated. I'll get to that in a minute, in a bit, but I have gone, I want this, and I want it this way. Whereas you don't have, if you're a first-time mum, you haven't got that knowledge. Not everyone's got that knowledge, and it's quite difficult.
And I think back in 2010 as well, you didn't have all this like social media, you didn't have all these programs, you didn't even have, what's that, one born every minute.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think was that just coming out around then? You didn't know if you were told to kind of
absolutely.
shut up and just stay there for a bit.
Just crack on, yeah.
Wouldn't you?
No, 100%.
I was just like, okay, I'll just do whatever. And like, my mum had quite easy delivery, so I just thought, well, I'll just breathe it, because why would I not? She
Yeah.
said it was fine. She had no pain relief. I'll do the same thing. Didn't work like that.
Yeah.
I was like, I can do this. I've got it. And I didn't like needles either. And I was a bit of a needle phobe. So I was like, listen, I don't want to be having any, don't be giving me any injections and that. I don't want anything. I don't want a cannula in. I just want to go into the room and have the baby. Anyway, I had really poor CTGs. You know, CTGs are where they put the bands on the tummy to measure the baby's heartbeat. And they were like going down and down and down. And as my contractions were up and down, up and down. And then they said, right, we do think you're in labour now. And they give me like, my mum got me a tent. She was allowed to come in. And we had like a little bit of a picnic and all that.
Oh.
And then my mum was like, you need to eat loads, get yourself all ready for labour. Because like this was the early stages. And then they were like, oh, we're not happy. We're going to take you to the delivery suite. So I was like, yeah, fine. They took me over. And then I was literally in there about 10 minutes. And they went, we're not happy at all. We need to get this baby out now. And I was like, no, I'm not having a section. No way. And they were like, no, there's no choice. We're going. I was like, oh. And then I was like, but I don't like needles. And one of my mum's best friends was a midwife in the women's at the time. The women's is a hospital in Liverpool that most people have their babies in. And I was like, I need magic cream. So she put Sudocrem on, and I didn't know that until years later. I thought it was magic cream. And I was like, oh. And then I found out years later, she was like, it wasn't magic cream, it was Sudocrem. You needed to shut off and get into the
I love that.
So it worked quite well.
Yeah.
But she, basically what had happened is I'd had a placental abruption, and the lining of basically the what's it called? Placenta that's attached to the wall had come away and started to bleed. However, I hadn't bled, so it was just bleeding into my tummy. Yeah, and it had gone all a bit wrong. So when they got him out, they were like, before, obviously, like I was saying before this, they were, because I kept saying to them, listen, I know my baby's going to die. And they were like, no. And I was like, no, I know. And they were like, no, it's like 90% survival. There's no other complications. Your baby's not going to die. And I was just like, okay. But I am quite spiritual in it.
Did you have like a premonition, do you think?
Sort of.
It's like a gut feeling almost.
Like,
just
yeah.
like mothers know, like mother's intuition.
Yeah, like an intuition, yeah.
Yeah. And was it like you thought that it was going to happen like when you were delivering Charlie, or did you just think at some point?
I just saw at some point.
I
didn't know when it would be. And then he was delivered, and the plan was for him to go straight over to Alderhay Children's Hospital, which is only round the corner, not far. But he had to be ventilated straight away, and he had to have CPR when he was born. He's put onto a ventilator, and they just couldn't get him off. He was basically, he'd had a hypoxia because the placenta wasn't given the blood, the oxygenated blood back to him. His brain was starved and his organs were starved of oxygen, so he didn't end up passing urine. So that's why, after about 11 days, they said to me, right, we can go another few days, or we can stop now. And I was just like, I'm done. It's not fair. It's not fair for him. What am I getting out of another 3 days? I'm not going to get anything. I'm just going to increase his suffering. I need to let him go and be at peace. And that's what we chose. And also, the caveat to that is, I didn't want him to have, a big arrest and like a big chaotic death. I didn't really know what that looked like then, but I didn't want that. I wanted it to be calm. I wanted it to be nice. I wanted to bless him. I wanted him not to be bruised. He's already had so many interventions, tubes and lines, and I didn't want any more of that. I didn't want to put him under any more than he'd already been through. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And sorry. So obviously he was in the hospital this whole time. You didn't take him home, or were you able to take him home, or what happened there?
So Well, actually, there's another little caveat to this, but I won't bore you for too long. So on the first day, right, when I got wheeled into the neonatal unit, there was a woman standing at the bottom of the thing, of the corridor, standing there with a camera. And obviously I'd had loads of whatever the drugs that they give you in the theatre. And I was just like, "Ooh,"
Mm.
and I'd just given birth to me hormones and everything, and I was just loving life. And I just had my baby. She was fucking buzzing. And I was just like, oh my God. I knew he was poorly, but I was just like, he's fucking here and he's mine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as I'm getting wheeled up the thing, this woman's looking at me. I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And apparently, and my mum and dad were behind me, and my mum and dad were like, "Oh God." And she went, "I'm a director from ITV. I'm making a programme." I went, "I'll be on that programme and my baby will." And my mum and dad went, "Oh." And I went, "Oh, no, I'll be on that." And she went, "Will you really?" I went, "Yeah, so late, come on." Because I'd had every Tom, Dick and Harry come and watching me and observing and taking notes about this gastroschisis anyway. It was like for medical research or whatever. So I was like, well, I've done it for that, so I may as well get myself on telly and go my story. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. In your way,
So,
yeah.
and we did, and 6 million people watched it. It was aired in 2011. It's called Baby Hospital, and it was filmed. She's now my friend, an Ainsley Lynn Allywell, and she's just gorgeous. And it was beautifully done. I personally think it was beautifully done. So yeah, that was that. And then so he had a lovely peaceful death. We had everyone who wants to come and see him come and see him. His biological dad chose not to see him, which is absolutely fine. That's his thing. It wasn't explained very well. They didn't have a bereavement team at the time, right? So the night he died, I obviously stayed with him and that, and then I went home to get a shower and all that. Went to go back in the next morning, and I met this secretary, and she was like, "You need to do this, that, and the next thing," like just dead abrupt, like as if it was just a normal Tuesday or whatever. I was
Yeah.
like, my dad was like, "Just hold on a minute, love. We need to just fucking take stock here."
Yeah.
And after that, I went back to the women's and give them feedback and said, there really needs to be some sort of team, someone who's going to like just put their arms around you and go, "Listen, babe, you just take your time. If you need 25 minutes, if you need an hour, whatever you want to do it."
Yeah.
So, we did take him home, and there was no cuddle cots or anything like that then. So it was only a night before the funeral. But it was lovely to have him home. Do you know what I mean? And we've got like a big family and friend. We've got an amazing group of family friends, and they all come round, and everyone's seen him, and everyone who wanted to see him, because obviously it's not. I wanted everyone to see him. I was like, "Oh,
You're
come
proud
see
of
him!
him. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
proud. Your son.
come and see my baby." But not everyone wants to see a dead baby, and I get that now, but didn't at the time. Um, so yeah, and then we had a lovely funeral. The funeral was absolutely. It was just everyone had come. I was so grateful because obviously no one had hardly anyone had met him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or knew him, and it was just so lovely. And then after that, we done a little bit of fun. I done a little bit of fundraising for the women's, and then went back to work and thought, oh, I can't go back into hairdressing now. I've got to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what did that journey look like then? Obviously, with Charlie gone, and like you said, you went back to work and thought, no, I'm going to go and channel this and make it my purpose. So what did you do? What decision did you make? And what did you retrain as?
So I went back and I had to go and do my A-levels. So I went back to college and done that. And then I thought, well, how do I get into neonatal nurse? And I only want to work in the women's. And the reason for me doing this was not only to give back, because I wanted to give back what the nurses had given to me, that care, love, not only me, but Charlie as well, but just that love and warm support. I just wanted to give that to another mum, and when they were feeling like that. So I done a year doing an access course, sent out to every uni in the country, and I got accepted at Salford. So I done children's nursing at Salford for 3 years. And I've done, like, it was really good. That's interesting because there's things that you'd see in Manchester that you wouldn't necessarily see in Liverpool because it's more diverse in Manchester. So it was interesting and educational. And then as soon as I qualified, right, I got my job in the women's, no problem. And I'm sitting there waiting to go in for the interview. And as I'm sitting there, facing me is the door that I'd been in. The last time I'd been on the unit was there to the room where he died in. And I was just like, if I don't get this now, I've completely fucked my life. Like, what on earth have I done? Anyway, I got it. And it was lovely.
Oh.
And, that was my absolute passion. And it was such a gift, like to be able to look after them babies is an absolute privilege because they are so strong and so resilient. And them kids face challenges like no other before they're even, 6 months
Yeah.
old. They've been through so much and they deserve the world. And it's only right that, when you're in that position, you get to do that. So, yeah.
And like, what an amazing person you are, though, to not only retrain as a neonatal nurse, but to go back to the hospital where you lost Charlie and to be sat, like you said, in those doors, staring where you were a year or two before. What were those feelings like? What were the emotions like? Were you just focusing on getting that job, or did it all come flooding back? And
A little bit. So there's another little bit of a plot twist there, right? So that was I actually got my job 5 years, 5 years after Charlie, by the time I'd done my training and all that. So, I was started work on the 19th of October and Charlie's birthday is the 22nd of October, right? But I didn't work on the unit. I was doing like training or, like all
like
that paperwork. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know what that word was then. I was like, you're like brain fog. And I had the day off on his 5th birthday, which was the 22nd of October. And then I was going back to work on the ward the next day, and they were like, "We're going to give you that day off because it is Charlie's birthday, and it might be a bit emotional given it's your first." I was like, "Yeah." Found out I was pregnant with our doll on his 5th birthday, and it was like, and then going into work, I was just like. So like,
that's
how amazing.
amazing. That is amazing. And like, when you were going through all of this, were there any, I know you obviously said at the time there wasn't a bereavement team. When you obviously had the funeral for Charlie, realised you wanted to retrain, did your A-levels and this, that and the other, did you have any therapy? Did you have any mental health support to help you guide through that horrible period?
No, not really. So this is quite open and honest, but I used a lot of drinking drugs just to get me through at that time. Since then, I've done a 12-step program, but before that, I was reckless and I just wanted someone to take the pain away, and no one who was talking to me. I went to a couple of places, and I was just like, "Oh, you just don't get me." Like, although, however, the best resource I did find was the Child Death Helpline, and you can phone it. And there's a few hubs around the UK, and you can phone. I think it's on every night now, and you can phone it, and it's a parent who's lost a child on the other end, and they're just they just listen to you, and you can cry, you can shout, you can be angry.
They get it, right?
They get it, yeah. And it's just another person who goes, "Okay, that's fine." Like if someone was doing that, I'd get it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So eventually, that is my plan when I've got a bit more time to give a little bit of time to them. But yeah, they are a really good resource, I found.
But you survived on drugs to get you through that grief.
Alcohol and drug share because I didn't know a better way. I didn't know what else to do, and being so young. And it's a bit of a weird one as well because none of my mates that kids, never mind, lost a child. So no one knew what to say. It's very awkward. People would be like, and it took me a long time. People would be like, "Oh, don't mention that. It's not, or they change conversation or they do not want to hear it." And all of those things are valid and okay, but it's hard when you're that mum and you just wanna share. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like,
Have you
I
had
think,
any?
yes, I have.
Yeah, you know what I was going to
I was
say
go-
then.
I
Have
was
you had
gonna get
help
to that.
since? Yeah.
Yeah,
Good, good.
yeah.
And do you feel better? Do you feel like I mean, closure, I think is the wrong word. I don't think there's ever going to be closure, is there? But do you feel like the help that you've had now has helped you understand you
Yeah,
and what you should have been getting help with before? And
yeah. Like, when, when, when I had Doll, my second one, right? I I had a I had a terrible pregnancy, and I kept saying, "There's something wrong with this baby. There's something wrong with this baby." And every single professional, bar one, kept saying to me, "You're anxious. Come on in. You're anxious. Your baby's died. You're just an anxious mum." And I was going, "No, you're not listening to me.
Yeah.
Like, I, I, I've had a baby before. It just doesn't feel the same." And they kept saying, "No, no, 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 no." Anyway, turns out she did have something wrong. She's got no thyroid, my eldest, and she was very docile in the room. She wasn't kicking, she wasn't moving, her heart rate wasn't going up and down, but it was just like on the cusp. And then I got to like 37 weeks and they were like, let's just get this baby out because why are we even waiting now? The consultant was amazing. Mark, his name was, and he was just absolutely fantastic. And then we stayed in for another 12 days trying to work out because she wasn't feeding. They were saying, oh, you must have got your dates wrong. And I was like, listen, my husband works offshore. There's no way I've got my dates wrong. Like, I know. So, yeah. So then after that, I really struggled with like postpartum anxiety, not depression, just this like weirdness of, like to the point where if I went to the toilet or for a shower, she'd have to come in the room with me so I could see her. And like we lived in a tiny house then, and we had like this little yard, and my mum was like, "Just put it in the." She was a summer baby. Just put it in the garden and put the cat net over it and do the dishes. You can see it, and I'd be like, "What if a seagull comes down and swoops it up?" I mean, we'd be like,
What year was this then now? What are we like?
So Charlie was born in 2010, and
Right.
Dolly, I found out I was pregnant in 2015,
Yeah,
and in the October, and she was born in the June
Right,
in
so it was
16.
before.
Twin.
No, I just had those visions. Remember when it was like COVID and was it a seagull came down and got a chihuahua in Liverpool? And I was like, is this around the same time?
So again, your premonition is right. You're like your intuition.
Did it? Am I making that up or did?
No, I think it definitely did. I don't like seagulls. They give me the creeps.
So isn't that what happened in Liverpool with that bird, Charmaine or Charlene or something? It went viral around COVID time. Chantal, isn't it? That was again in Liverpool, right? Chasing the bird. Yeah, I feel why you'd think this.
Oh, that's actually my friend's sister whose parrot it was.
Is it? Oh my God, we're like kind of meeting a celebrity by talking to you, Amy. She was brilliant, wasn't she?
So funny. So
Oh
funny.
my God. But I think you're totally valid to have those feelings because, again, I think myself, most parents can resonate with that kind of, you've got to build up to trusting the world with your baby. Like it's just the scariest thing. And I can imagine, obviously, after losing Charlie and then knowing that something was wrong with Dolly when you were pregnant, and then obviously she was born, I can totally imagine why you were so nervous about not being with her every single second of the day.
100%. And I don't, and this is sort of like a personal opinion, but I don't think if you can be off with your kids and you have to cut your cloth, then I highly recommend it, because if you can, it's the greatest gift you can give them until they go to school, or at least school nursery. You know what I mean? Because it's once in a lifetime, innit?
Yeah.
Like you only get them for 3-4 short years, and then they're off into the world learning shite in school. You know what I mean?
And, yeah.
And it's just like the fuck, like teach them the basics. Take them anywhere to feed the ducks. It doesn't need to cost the air. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. 100%. When Phoebe's going to be starting school like next year, and so that means I'm not going to have Fridays with her. So at the minute I have like Fridays, I work 4 days a week, and it's our little day together. And already, if I let myself think about that, I just burst into tears because I'm like,
I know.
I'm going to lose a full day with her. And then in my head, I'm like, yes, but actually what I'll do is I'll get more hours with her because I get her from 3 o'clock every single day rather than some days it's 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like counting the hours to make sure that although I might lose Friday with her, I'm not losing the hours with her, if that makes sense. Like that's how crazy it sends you, because I'm like,
I know. It does though. It's like
yeah.
this mum guilt, isn't it? That it's just so overwhelming, and you've got to like, you want to be here, but you want to be there, and
Yeah.
you sort of lose your identity as you become a mum. And I'm assuming you get it back at some point. But you know,
Well, I think parenthood, basically, I coin it as a wonderful head fuck. And it's also just a massive contradiction. Everything is a contradiction when you're a parent. Like what your kid gives you, what you think, how life is, what you want to do, what you don't want to do. Like you're constantly battling that contradiction multiple times a day. And I just think it's like so difficult sometimes to just kind of live in the moment, because you want to live in the moment, but then you're constantly thinking forward. It's just wild, isn't it?
it is, isn't it? You're forward, you're back, you're thinking, what about this? I'll plan for that.
Yeah.
But that could change. Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
And talking, obviously, the greatest gift you can give to your kid. I know you had then, obviously, we spoke about Dolly, you've got Winnie, you had Reenie, and then you kind of give a gift out to them, and not just them, but a lot of other children out there, which is the magical rainbow baby.
Yeah.
So tell us more about that.
So, basically, in 2020, we had our last baby, or so we thought. And me husband was like, so obviously Lee's not Charlie's biological father. However, we met soon after, and I never thought anyone would love me, because I thought there's too much baggage, isn't there? Like, who wants a waffle and mess? Because that's what I was. And it wasn't like that at all. Like he just swooped me up, and the night I met him, I thought, that's the fella I'm going to marry, and it literally was. But anyway, that's sidetracked. And so he was always, I used to go to the grave like twice a day. I'd sit there, sometimes I'd stay there overnight. And my husband would just be with me there all the time. Well, obviously, before we had kids, he'd just be there, or he'd support me. He was the one who held me hands, listened to me crying and screaming, and all of them things he dealt with. And then Doll was his first baby. And then he sort of went, right, I think we should give the kids this gift and we can share it with other kids. And I was like, oh, okay then. And he was like, I've written a little book. And I was like, oh, okay. And then it sort of went from there. And we've given them, to neonatal units, we've given them to charities, we've given them to schools. It just sort of highlights, like, pardon me, it's like, it highlights grief in children's lives, and I think it happens more than we think, and siblings are affected, because our girls started asking, that's why Lee wrote the book, because the girls started asking questions, saying like, where's Charlie? And this, that, and the next thing. And Lee was just like, we need to explain it better. And there's no pro forma for it, is there? There's no rule book to parents, and there's definitely not one for Lee. So Lee was like, why don't we just write one? And then it might just be easier for other parents to have these conversations. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. So we did.
That's amazing. And that Lee sort of pushed the idea forward, and he wasn't even Charlie's biological dad. What an amazing person he is. Like you said, to scoop you up, protect you, help you, and then say, let's tell our girls about their brother,
Yeah.
And obviously when the girls ask questions about Charlie, then, how do you explain it? What do you say? Are there pictures of him, in his incubator? Like, is he everywhere?
It's like I'll send you the pictures. I'll send you a couple of pictures of the book after it.
Yeah,
I should have had one next to me, but I haven't got it.
But is it available to buy on like Amazon or anything like that, or is it something that you printed yourself? Or
it's we've got some in ours. One of them's we wrote today. One of them's on Amazon, and the rest are in ours. But if anyone wants one, you can just message me and I'll send it over.
We would definitely be interested in having a look at that, and we can share that obviously on our page as well, because
Thanks,
what
girls.
an incredible thing to do, and just really organic. And the fact that you're like, well, one's on Amazon, I think, the others are at ours. Like, it's clear that you've done that from your heart because of what you've gone through. It's not because you're like, and even if you did want to sell it, fucking fair play. You've gone through the most horrific trauma, like, I could only imagine. And honestly, my heart goes out to you to have gone through that. And I want to read the book because I want to learn about grief. I want to know how to deal with that, because it's not only grief of a grandparent or, you know, an expected ill family member or someone like that, which is horrific, but of a baby, you know,
of a sibling,
and
it's
a
like,
sibling,
you know, they haven't had that experience, but it sort of makes them a little bit more aware when, you know, there's time, like October's a difficult month for me mentally. Not every year, but most years. And I struggle. And the kids are more understanding because it's like, right, well, mummy's just having a little bit of a moment. And that's all right, because we all do, don't we? And it's okay to be, you know, open with your kids and tell them and share grief. Although you don't want them to have too much. It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's just you want them to have that understanding, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I know it's completely different, and this is just how my brain works, but it's wrong. But like, this is the way I can explain it. Like when I was, I think I was even a teenager, and I went out with my mum, and we went to, you know, when you feed like the lambs and stuff,
Yeah.
like when it's Easter, and unfortunately, lamb had passed away,
Yeah.
but there's another lamb that needed adopting, so they obviously got the skin off that lamb and put it on the other lamb, so the
Oh, yeah,
mother
yeah.
would
the
get
mum,
it.
yeah.
And then, like, my friend at the time was like, "That's traumatizing. Kids shouldn't be seeing this." Da, da, da. And my mum's like, "No, it's life.
Yeah.
Like, this
It
what
is.
happens." And the little kids weren't phased at all. They were just taking in all the information. And
I,
why does that need to happen? Oh, so that mummy sheep takes on the baby sheep, and then
Yeah.
that baby sheep has
Yeah.
a mum, and it gets cared for. And
Mm.
unfortunately, this baby didn't survive. It's just life. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's just like, it's hard, isn't it? Because I can understand, oh, I don't want my child to see that because it's sheltered, but to have that pure understanding. So if anything does happen, it's like, oh, I know it's completely different with sheep, but do you know what I mean?
no, I
Like,
get you.
it
I get the
happens.
analogy.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. And how,
No, and it's life, isn't it? And I don't believe, like, we've had a lot of death in our family. We didn't have any for like 10 years after Charlie died, 10 years. And then our children have just lost 4 grandparents within the space of 2 years. And it was horrific. And they struggled a lot. And you know, it is hard for them, but I wanted them to go to the funeral. I wanted them to, in fact, they actually come in and see their granddad die. That wasn't intentional. It was just the door was open and they come in and it was, but you know what? It's done them no harm because they've, you know, they were there. It was calm. It was beautiful. And death can be so beautiful if it's done. And I'm really passionate about that. You know, like, to any of my family members who are on end of life, I like to give it the full it. You know, like, I want them to have whatever they fucking want. I want them to have pictures everywhere, music, candles, whatever they want. If they want berries, if they want whatever, you know, just have what you want because that's what it's about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's good. It's meant to be beautiful. It's a death is a portal to another world that we can't see. It's only there. It's in touching distance, but we just physically can't see it with our eyes.
yeah.
I believe, anyway.
Yeah.
No, that's what I was going to go into as well, because I know obviously we spoke in the background about faith, manifestation. What is it you do believe that's got you? Because I feel like when I look at you, Amy, and how you speak, you're so strong-willed, and obviously you've gone through a lot of pain yourself, and it can sometimes, I feel like, this is me in my own opinion, it can be patronizing. Sometimes people go, "Oh, you know, you're so good," but what can you take that's keeping you on this level? Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's just God. Like,
Mm,
and now I'm Roman Catholic, but I don't go to church all the time.
mm,
However, I don't, I I feel like as long as you're just doing a good deed, you know, you're being a good person, it's them little things, isn't it, that compound. It's going out your way to do a little good deed or being nice, being kind to animals, going and helping a little old lady across the road. It's day-to-day things and it's nothing major. And it's also, having that delusional faith that something is going to come through, like that something. Because at the end of the day, I had two options when I was 18. I could have died, I could have killed myself, or the second option was right. You've got to fucking put your big girl pants on, and you've got to get the fuck out there, and you've got to work hard and build a life because this life ain't worth living right now.
And so fucking glad that you did do that, because you've got 4 children who obviously are the most incredible mum to. You've got a husband, you've got obviously a great family and friend circle, and you're on here teaching us about putting our big girl pants on, because everyone has their own trauma they go through, and sometimes you just sit in a hole and you're like, I can't fucking do it, why me, and you've just got to go, do you know what, put your fucking pants on and make the best of a shit situation, because one day when you're faced with something that would probably normally tip you over the edge, you can face it because of what you've gone through. And I think that you're here, you're telling us this, like, it's so inspirational. And I just think it's amazing that you chose that route at 18 years old and you're here now, because what an incredible story. And we're super grateful that you're able to share it with us, because it's making me get goosebumps, honestly. And I just think, it's incredible.
So well, thank you for letting me to have the opportunity, girls, because you know what, like, it's one of them, isn't it? I have got stories to tell, and I want people to know. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying it like I'm not trying to be big-headed or nothing, because it's not like, and I don't mean it like that. But I mean, I want to show people that anything's fucking possible. Just go out and get it.
Yeah.
And you're closer than you think.
Yeah. And manifestation, does that play a lot into your world as well?
Massive.
And what are the things that you tend to manifest day to day, or do you manifest for your children, their life, their future?
Everything. So everything. So like, I'll just like sort of nip back. So when I met my husband, when I said I'm going to marry him, in my head, I did. So then I wanted more. So I was like, I want 4 kids. And my husband was like, oh yeah. And then I didn't mention it again. I just put that in my mind. I want 4 kids. So we had our 3 girls, and he was like, we're done. And I was like, oh, no. You just don't know it yet. So that part of it. But then when I really started realizing that I was properly manifesting, it was in COVID, and I'd had 3 C-sections. So that Charlie, Dolly, Winnie via C-section, and I was 35 weeks pregnant. And they said, "Oh, you're gonna have another section," and I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Oh, your husband can't stay with you because of COVID." I was, well, I'm not having a section, and they were like, "Oh no, you are. You've had 3 sections in the past. You can't have a foot." I was like, "Oh no, I can't. So I can do what I want." And they were like, and then they were like, "He's not even affect your body." And with Charlie, I didn't progress, so my labour didn't go. It only stayed at so many centimeters, and they were like, "You'll never do it." And I was like, "I fucking will." So I made them do this new induction technique with a balloon, like a Foley catheter balloon thing. It was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life, but I've done it. And then I was like, I can do this. I can do this. And I believe, like, I've manifested holidays and all mad stuff. I've won frigging bongos bingo, and like all that mad stuff. Like, I've literally gone, I'm going to win that. We're
Is
going to
it
win that tonight.
something that you write down, like journal or vision board, or is it all in your head? What?
Oh no! So I've got this issue. I've got like a little thing. It's only off Amazon, and it's called the Law of Attraction, right? And it has like all like lovely little bits in it, and then you have like your manifestations that you can write down, bits like that. I do a little bit. I mean, I am God fearing, but I do a little bit of magic, but I'm not that good, so I don't do anything mad. But Lee just goes mad. He's like, "What are you doing this for?" I've got like lemons in the freezer and all kinds of madness going on, salt everywhere.
So is it like more kind of like not traditions, but more like things that you've read up that you think, if I put that there, that's gonna help magic my manifestation? Is it like that, or is it like tricks, or like what is the magic?
Yeah, it's sort of like when I'm setting intentions in different parts of the month, I'll do different things. You know, like I'll put cinnamon on my door before at the beginning of the month and stuff like that. It's more with the intention. It's the action with the intention. But my intentions are written down every day, and I'm just like, this is what I'm going to get done. And you know what? Sometimes it takes a while, right? Sometimes you think, is this ever going to fucking happen? But it does.
And
Yeah.
I think sometimes, even if it's those actions, and people might say, what the bloody hell you do? But the fact that you're doing those actions is making you think about what you want.
Yeah.
So it's all coming into the flow, isn't it? Because it's
Yeah.
like, if you're doing it, you're thinking about it.
Yeah,
Like how
100%.
they go
You're
about
connecting
it,
the
like
dots.
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And it's like a routine, a habit, and then it just flows and
Yeah.
flows and flows,
Yeah.
and then
Well, you've got to put the work in to get it. Like you
Oh,
can't
God,
just
yeah.
you don't just manifest out of thin air if you're a
Yeah.
miserable bastard, because you don't.
No.
You know, you've got to have the mindset and the
Yeah.
attitude and the gratitude
Yeah.
all to go in a big mix
Yeah.
to get what you want.
And I think as well, like that, all of this is basically hope. You know, if you're hopeful and you hope for things in life, and there's always hope, then I also think that matches manifestation, positive affirmations, like great mindset. Because I think if you wake up every day and you're hopeful that this will go right, hopeful that that will turn out, hopeful that you have a nice meal, hopeful that you don't have an argument, I think hope is like underlies so many things. And I think if you've got hope, then you're also on a great route. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's for me something that I always like cling on to, like being hopeful or having hope. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. I feel like if if you're using the right terminology in your mind you're correcting your thoughts and you're not slipping into that negative mindset of thinking, why me? Or could it get any worse? All of them stupid things that people actually speak. Because when we speak, our words are called spellings for a reason. Because it's a spell. Like everything we speak out, not everything comes true, of course, but the majority of it does. If you're saying, "Oh, it's the worst week of my life," well, of course you're gonna have the worst week of your life because you fucking keep saying it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's simple, isn't it?
I like that spelling thing. I've never thought of it that way before.
It is. Everything's magic. The universe. I mean, sorry, I do sound like I've got a tinfoil hat on at the moment,
No,
and
I love
haven't.
this stuff.
But the world, like you can quantum leap in a minute. You can collapse your timeline. All it takes is the start of emotion. So all it takes is a different action on something, and you can change the trajectory of your life from that moment. Like it could be, it could literally be like, I don't want to be a horrible person anymore. I need to change my attitude. But I wasn't a very nice person when I was younger because I was so angry all the time. I was like, why is everyone else got their fucking babies and I haven't got mine?
Yeah.
Now, I truly believe that Charlie was never ever meant to be here. Charlie was just part of the journey. Now, would I love him to be here? Absolutely. I had to end him to have him here, but he wasn't meant to be here. And he was here to instigate the first part of my journey. And this is going to sound even more like round the bend, but it's not. But if you believe in like numerology and Chinese astrology, he's a 22 light path, and they are like master builders. And he was also born in my enemy year. If you have a baby at 17, 18, the likelihood of it being born in your enemy year is really high. And the chances are something bad's going to happen or something really bad's going to happen. So I feel like everything in life is about God's got a plan. Like, and I've just got to trust. I've just got to go, do you know what? Hold my hand. I'll give it all to you. And you've got the plan. I just need to follow your next steps and we'll get there.
I just think again that the way you're just speaking about that is just incredible. And I do believe that your next job needs to be a motivational speaker. I think you'd be incredible. And I also think you need to get a tarot card reading from Spud, because can you imagine their energy together? Oh my
God,
God. It'd be about a 5-hour tarot card reading. But I feel like you two would like gel so well, because I feel like you're on the same wavelength. And his tarot card reader was so accurate for me. So I think he,
That's going out tomorrow, by the way.
yeah,
Next time
yeah.
Oh, I'll have to
what
watch that.
Hannah's on about.
If you've seen the
Yeah.
shorts, you'll know.
No one yet
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that, yeah, the way you've flipped the perspective, and it takes time. And I think that if anyone is in a space where they're rolling their eyes at this episode because they're like, oh, you're so positive and no one knows what I'm going through and I can't get to that space, I've fucking been there. You've been there, Luce, you've been there. So it's not like we're sat here being like, look at us, we're just these really positive people.
No,
We've been in that
not at all.
space, but on the other
Yeah.
side, and we're just basically saying, keep working, keep manifesting, keep just getting up every day, putting those big girl pants on and trying to just find those little moments of joy, and eventually you'll be on the other side. And also,
100%.
it might happen again next year, next week, tomorrow. We could find ourselves in that space again where we're just like
100%.
consumed. But it's the tools that we can use, like being hopeful, like the positive affirmations, like the manifestations, that can bring us back out of it again. And I think that's like what therapy does as well. When you're ready to have therapy, it can just help you no end. But you've got to be ready to take that step.
Well, 100%. And I actually had a really bad time in 2020 and 2021. My mental health was shocking. And I think it was because I hadn't had my fourth child. And I was so like close to a breakdown, and I couldn't get myself out of it. And it took a lot of work, and I'd done a 12-step, and I'd done this, that, and the next thing to try and help me. But you've got to make that decision. If you're going to sit there and act like a victim, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's time and a space for it. But if it goes on for too long, you know it yourself. Do you know what I mean? No one can tell you like when you're done doing your grieving. But not done doing your grieving, that's not the right word. I mean, like when you've had enough and you're like, I can't do this no more. You need to just go, I need help. Someone help me.
Yeah.
Whether that be a therapist, a practitioner. Like I've been to different ceremonies. I've had Kambo, I've had Sananga, I've been to breath workshops and healing, meditation, all of these things. And they're just pieces of a puzzle. Some things might work for you, some things might not, some things you might think, fuck that. I mean, that was when I was younger. I was like, I'm not doing any therapy. I'm like a shite.
Yeah.
But you just have to find the niche that works for you.
Yeah. And exercise is a massive thing for people.
Absolutely.
Because some people don't want to feel vulnerable and they don't want to open up. And we can all relate to that. We don't want to sit and be like, so this is what's happened in my life. For me, alongside therapy, it was podcasts and hearing, like, it was Faye and Cotton's Happy Place, and it was hearing people that you like know and love and adore from like stage and music sitting there and being like, this is how I feel. I've got mad anxiety. I've got OCDs. I've got this. And you're suddenly going, what? I thought I was the only person in the whole world that brain was wired that way. And then you find out there are thousands, if not millions of people that want to check a door handle 100 times. And that validation of hearing it from someone like Fern Cotton, I remember just being like, wow, I'm really not as weird as I thought I was. I am weird, but not as weird. So like simple things like a podcast can suddenly then just change your whole mindset about yourself. And then when you start to feel better about yourself and you understand yourself more, you can then figure out that these quirks are actually pretty endearing.
Yeah. And do you know what? That's what makes you you, and that's what makes you different. If you've got like, everyone's little differences are a good thing, because if we all had fucking nothing, we'd be boring, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd like to
we're
be
all the
boring.
same.
Sometimes
Me
I'd like
too.
my brain to give me a rest. Right, let's circle back. You mentioned something about your fourth child. You said in 2021 you felt like you were having a mental breakdown because you hadn't had your fourth child yet, and obviously then you went on and had Donnie. But like we've mentioned before, your pregnancies have not been the easiest of rides, and at 17 weeks you were told that he was going to be he's going to have Down syndrome, right?
Yeah.
And that he might not survive. Obviously,
Yeah.
you chose not to pursue invasive testing or a termination. So what were your thoughts and feelings given that kind of diagnosis, and what made you want to continue with the pregnancy?
So at 13 weeks, right, we went to get a scan, and they scanned me and they were like, I knew, obviously, given me background. She went, oh, the baby's back of the neck's thick. And she went, we'll do your bloods. We'll take you through the corridor. But obviously, I've had all this before. So I was like, she went, we'll take you the back way. And I was like, no, it's fine. And then obviously, like, lost the plot because I was emotional. And Lee was like, just calm down. It's fine. Like, you're going to be fine. And I was like, okay. And then, so when they do like a triple test, they test for Downs, Patels, and Edwards. Patels and Edwards aren't compatible with life. So I was like, if the baby's not compatible with life, I will terminate. But if it's got Downs, then that's the baby's mine, and we're going to raise it, and that's the end of it. Anyway, as the test came back, they came back for Downs. So I was like, right, fine, we're continuing to pregnancy. We don't want anything else. However, it was weekly scans. It was every time we went, have you thought about having an amnio? Have you thought about having a termination? To the point where I went to meet other consultants and said to him, I can't take much more. I'm not going back there. And he was like, no, you have to, because the baby needs fetal medicine. And I was like, but I'm not going back there. They keep asking me these awful questions. And for me, it felt too invasive. It felt invasively asking, and I'm not like that. Like, I'm quite as you know, girls, I'm quite an open book. But I was like, I don't want you to push me into something that I don't want to do with my body or my baby. Anyway, he emailed them and they were like, fine, we understand. We won't ask again. So I was like, fine. As the pregnancy progressed, there was problems with his heart, with his bowels, this, that, and the next thing. And it was getting to the point where they were like, you might not even get to take your baby home. You might have stillbirth, blah, blah, blah. Every time I was leaving, they were safeguarding me with, you need to come in, it's this, that, and the next thing. And I was like, okay, all right, I'll do whatever you say. And then on Boxing Day, 2024, my dad took the kids out the kids had gone out, the girls, and my husband was like, should we go for a big walk? And I was like, oh yeah, we'll go for some lunch. Yeah, this big walk. And I was like, I think I'm getting paid. He was like, not on fucking Boxing Day, we're getting a taxi, and you're getting right in that bed. He was like, that'd be Boxing Day ruined forever. And I was like, okay. And then we were booked in to go in for induction again. Because, well, for 2 weeks, for medical reasons. They wanted to do it on the 3rd, and Lee would have got the whole of Christmas off if we'd done it on the 30th of December. So I was like, 30th? And they were like, yeah, fine. So they did, and he was born on New Year's Eve, and it was fucking beautiful. It was amazing. It was 2-hour labour. I was in labour, and I was like, I need an epidural. He was like, oh yeah, I'll come back in an hour. And he knocked on the door.
Sudocrem.
Sudocrem, yeah.
Needle is gone now.
I don't need
I need an
well
epidural.
I needed put it in there. And he went, I'm finishing it this New Year's Eve. I'll get my colleague to come back in an hour. And then when they knocked, the midwife was like, baby's head's here. You've got no chance. Let's go. I was like, okay, off we go. And he was born, and it was so lovely. And we did spend a bit of time in hospital. Obviously we thought he had Down, so there was all the testing and and then, do you know what? Like, some of the doctors were amazing, and some of the doctors were, some of them were like, I remember one of them said to me, well, I mean, we could look for years and we might not find it. We've all got something wrong with us. And I was like, well, my son's got a list of, what's the word? Like, anomalies. And I'm not willing for this to just get, like, passed over. Like, I want the full genetics. I want the works. I want to know. I've been told this for the last 12 months. It's not like I've just come in and you've said this now. Because if that would have been the case, I probably just would have been like, oh, well, it's fine. Do you know what I mean? But I was like, I deserve to know. And I want to know to be able to best support him. Like, I don't know what it is. And you're saying, you don't know what my life's like. So anyway, we went through the full genetics, and we got a diagnosis of Scott syndrome just in December. It took over like a year. But I'd actually gone to to the genetic. I was like, I think it's this, to the people in neonates. And they were like, because obviously he was in neonates for a little bit when he'd been born. And the doctor was like, oh, I don't think so. And as soon as I took him into the genetics, I was like, I think it's this. And they were like, oh yeah. She was like, yeah, I do as well. I think it's that. But that was just purely a process of elimination. I literally had a pen and a pad and wrote down
Yeah.
every single thing and was going, right, that one, no, that one, no. And it's like 1 in a million.
Can
What
you
he's got.
explain what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can understand why it's picked up as Downs, because if they do have like a bit of a bigger neck, like children with Down syndrome, and there's like extra skin at the back of the neck. They have like quite a there's it's called syndacally or something like that. Can't say it properly. It's where so when he was born, his fingers were like that.
Right.
So
And they were
Amy's
all
just doing a
black,
claw,
like a
type,
claw.
yeah, just for listeners that
Yeah.
can't see you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then he had like his testes went down. He had a hernia. He had talipes. He's got wide spaced eyes, no set ears, a droopy eyelids, a really long fulcrum, a widow's peak. There was lots of things that I was just like, no, I'm not having that. Like I want to know. So it was like a relief getting that, that certainty. But then it was like, well, where do I go from here? Because this is 1 in a million. But I found a fantastic charity, and the woman who runs it, and she was so lovely, and she gave me so much more information and support groups, and being able to like Facebook groups to speak with other mums and dads who've got the same condition and how it's affected their child. Like, for example, his hands, I've done loads and loads of massage with his hands to get them. And now 9 out of the 10 fingers are straight. It's just one
Amazing.
that's still bent. So it's like, I want to do all them things now. I don't want it to get like till he's 5 and then start. You want to start them young, but you want to I want to get them to ample prime condition, like the others were.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In
Yeah.
the best way possible. I don't mean that like, you know what I mean, don't you?
No, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
You, why should he not have the best start in life just because he has been diagnosed with this rare condition? And I think that you are the perfect mum to do that for him, given obviously what you've told us about today, everything you care about, everything you're passionate about, the perfect mum to come into this world. I think he was meant for you for sure.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to go back to the Downs thing because so my brother and my nephew have got Down syndrome.
Oh,
So yeah. So my brother's older than me, so I've never known anything different. I was born and I had a 3-year-old brother who had Down syndrome, and obviously, what kills me is that in 2024 you were still getting pressured to terminate your baby because they thought he had Downs. And my brother's 40 now, and when he didn't get diagnosed till he was 6 months old, and my mum and dad basically said that when he was 6 months old and they got the diagnosis, they said, so do you want to leave him here then and he'll go to an orphanage? And my mum and dad were like, no, like he's our 6-month-old baby, like he's ours, So it kills me that
I bet you it does.
think when you were saying it, I was like, I really, in my heart of hearts, because there are so many amazing Down syndrome inspirational people out there, like George from CBeebies, and you've got Ellie who's on Strictly, and you've got these amazing people that are just loving life and showing what a Down syndrome person can do, and fucking rightly so. And I know it from my brother and my nephew. They're incredible people. I just thought that life had moved on, and it wasn't like that. And your experience is just terrible that, so you don't want a termination. You don't, like, it makes me so sad. But also there are a lot of people that are doing that, and I'm holding 2 middle fingers up right now to anyone that might pressure them into it by having their babies and providing them and nurturing them and sending them to mainstream schools and making them have the life that they deserve. And I fully agree, if someone is not in the right headspace and they don't think that they can cope with a disabled child, then absolutely there's ways that people can obviously make sure that that child gets looked after. That's the most important thing, right? But to be obviously in hospitals, and your experience was that you were getting pressurized to terminate your baby because they thought they had Downs just kills me.
It's just like, it was like, I thought it, when I said no, I
That'll
said
be it.
no. And then it was like, we're going to give you a minute and we'll come back in. And I was like,
Ugh.
okay. I was like, I don't know, why am I sitting in here? And he was like, just, and I was like, I made my decision. Because Lee was quite, he was like, whatever, you do you. I mean, it was hard. It's hard at first because it was a shock to the system we weren't expecting.
Mhm.
And it was like, we did have to do a lot of talking and
100%.
what if, because
Yeah.
you do, that's normal. But that's also what life is about, being a parent, isn't it? Having difficult conversations and saying, how best are we going to support this child? What can we do? How can we work this out? What if this situation? What if that situation? Now, I'm not a fan of worrying and, you know, overthinking things because I think it's fucking pointless. Tomorrow, you deal with it then. Do you know what I mean? But there's certain situations like that that you think, right, I do need to do a little bit of preparation. Like, do I
Yeah.
need to get a special car seat or do I need to get special whatever for this new
Yeah.
baby?
And I think those conversations should happen. And like I just said a couple of minutes ago, if someone is in that space and they think, no, I can't do it, absolutely, because you need to do what's best for that baby and that person. So
Yeah.
I totally agree that the question should be asked and that it should be a conversation. And if someone doesn't feel like they can go full term with this baby because of the condition, Downs or whatever condition it is, they've got a right, because we don't live in America, to
Yeah.
terminate that baby. And I'm
Yeah.
not taking that away from anyone. I think my issue is your experience, again, everyone has different experiences, was the constant asking and the pressurizing. That's the bit I'm, you know what I mean?
At the final 2 weeks, I got, and I'm not disregard, like the women's do amazing work, but the skills could have been better. Like they could have been better in 2010, with the bereavement service.
Yeah.
Like, we're always learning, aren't we? And they were like, oh, we've got this specialist team, and this consultant's going to come and ring you and talk to you about this, that, and the next thing. I thought, well, 2 weeks ago you were asking me if I wanted to terminate. Now you're asking me that, the message wasn't clear. Like, what are you trying? Like, I know you're trying to give me my options, and I know you're trying to give me them again and again and again and again. Because someone might go no on the first scan, and then get to like 32 weeks and go, actually, I can't do this. Well, I haven't got the opportunity to say. So I half understand it, but it's just the way it's articulated could be a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
And it could be like, with support from this team, they will help you through these difficult decisions, because not everyone's got the knowledge, not everyone's got the understanding or the implications of how this is going to play out in their life. And if
100%.
someone, or if there was a mum or a dad or a family member who'd been in a household with a child with Downs, no, I haven't, but I have, I've got a cousin who lives in Ireland who's got Downs, and he's the most gorgeous. Well, he was, sorry, he passed away, but he was just the most gorgeous boy. And I just felt him in my mind and being like, well, they're all right, so we'll be fine too. But not everyone has that, Judy.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's like I said, it's that, repeating this conversation, because it is obviously quite a tough one. Everyone has got a right to make a decision based on what they're going to be able to do for themselves and do for that child. And like I said, the most important thing is that the mother, the parents are in a stable position to bring a child into the world, regardless of disability or not. And if they're not, then that option is there. But obviously we've got Donnie, he's brilliant, and you raise awareness for his condition, which is obviously fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what you mentioned, I did have the pleasure of meeting Hannah's brother, Danny, the other week. And I gotta say, I was only talking about him yesterday on our walk when we saw, everyone saw our post, we saw these starling birds and things like that. And I was saying, obviously, everyone needs to be a bit more like Danny. And so it's funny. I knew this episode was coming, but it wasn't even brought up about that. I think it was just
No,
brought
it
up
wasn't.
about live situations. And it was just like, everyone's got to be a bit more about him. But I think as well, for any parent that might be feeling judged now for whatever decision they make, is there any particular advice that you would say to them, Amy?
It's all about just trusting what feels good inside, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
when I've made big decisions for my kids and my life, I've always just gone inwards and into prayer. And it doesn't have to be like on your hands and knees. It doesn't have to be going to church. It can be a simple conversation, God, like, I talk to God all day, every day in conversation, and I'm like, what do you think about this? And like I go to Nate, I have had a great chat with God today, and he's like, are you round the bend? And sometimes I'll write it down. But like, have you ever read the book Conversations with God?
No.
No.
Oh my God, it's unbelievable. It's phenomenal. I suggest you read it.
Lucy needs one for ChatGPT. This is basically your conversation with God are Lucy's conversation with ChatGPT. Isn't it, Luce?
It is. And I have about 2 or 3 journals as well, like one upstairs, one downstairs. So any
Just for
ideas or
notes, yeah.
anything, just to write down and have like conversations with myself.
I love
But
it.
yeah.
I love it.
I
But
do it
it's
on
good.
Messenger, to be fair. You know, Facebook Messenger. I message myself like
Yeah.
things I need to remember or things I need to do, or Phoebe's done something. I'm like messaging myself. So
Oh.
I'm just like the
Yeah, I love
digital
it.
version of it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've got notes as well, like dreams in here. Fluffy jumpers. I'm in Zante. I need to tell Hannah this.
Talking of jumpers, actually, if you're watching this episode, then you may have noticed Amy's incredible jumper. I already said it before we started recording. And for those who are just listening, it's like this amazing, like lilac, pink, green jumper with like yin and yang symbols all over it. It's got mushrooms on it. Oh, she's putting the camera down so she can show it.
Now you can see
Flowers.
my charmies.
Yeah, honestly, it's the most amazing jumper. Charity shop, £8, and I've already said if she wants to sell it, I'll be the first one to buy it.
I'll send it in the post, Han.
Thanks. Right, I'm just thinking actually, because I mean, you've got so many bloody plates that you spin and so many hats that you wear.
I know, don't I know?
And you're now a blooming property entrepreneur that we mentioned way back at the beginning of this
Yeah.
episode. How the fuck do you stay on top of your kids and everything you're doing and still have time to sit and talk to God and manifest? And honestly,
It's the conversations with God that gets us through.
how do you do it?
Well, I think God obviously gives me the power to do it because I fucking couldn't do it on my own. Lee works offshore, so he's not here for half the year.
Yeah. Do you have a cleaner?
No, I fucking need one.
Oh my God, Amy.
I actually said to Lee the other day, I'm going to get a cleaner. And he was like, okay, babe. And I was like, I think I need someone just 2 days a week just to do the house. Because I have to, so when the kids go to school, right, I come back and I do an hour. And that's all I do a day. I do an hour. I do half an hour downstairs and half an hour upstairs. Like, do the beds, the bathrooms, toilets, everywhere gets a mop, clean. And then I start my day. Yeah, and I do a little workout. Not every day, though, because I can't be arsed with that.
Fucking hell, honestly. You're making me feel so, what's the word?
Lazy.
Lazy. I can't think of the word.
Unorganised? I don't know. I kind of get where you're coming from. I can't think of the word.
It's just relative, isn't it? Like when you've got, you just do it. It's not like, because everyone goes, oh, you see, and I'm like, I know, isn't everyone just like this? Because you don't see anyone else's world, do you? You only see your own. You only see snippets on Instagram and that, but
relative is definitely, it's all relative. Everything in life is all relative.
So yeah, I do that. Obviously, we got into property because Lee's dad sadly passed away, and that was sort of our in, basically. We refurbed the house, basically flipped it, and then started from there. So we're still like babies in it, really. We've only been in it a few years, but I love it. But it doesn't give you that, like I still do my aesthetics, and that gives me that little bit of chat, that little bit of girly time. I just fucking love my clients. I love women. I love, just like, I'm probably just a nosy bitch, really. Like, that's the thing.
See, people say that about me as well, but I don't think we are. It's not nosy. You just care about other people and their experiences, and you want to learn about their lives, and you're just interested, I think, in other people. Like, there's a nosiness where you like curtain twitching, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
And there's a nosiness when someone's talking to you and opening up. That's different. I feel people could disagree. They do at work, but there we go.
But it is though, isn't it? It's like people are sharing their, the most intimate things when you're chatting to them in their personal space. They're sharing, what's happening in their life, what's going on, their secrets and this, that, and the next thing. And I just want to know week to week. I'm like, oh, what happened? Are you all
Yeah.
right? And there's this happened, and that happened. So I think when I actually do leave that, which won't be that far away, I think I'll miss that. I'll miss that,
Mm.
like, because this in the property industry is mainly based around men
Mm.
and lots of chauvinistic men. If I'm really truly honest, and it's not the easiest when I'm the boss. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like 5'7" of me is the boss, and you're speaking to some 6 foot builder who's just not asked, and you're like, well, and this needs to be done today, and he's
Yeah.
like, well, it's fucking not, and I'm like, so yeah, that's me other little hat.
I love
Aw.
it, honestly. And obviously, when you do look back on your journey, like what has surprised you most about yourself and surviving it so far and thriving?
Well, um, I didn't think I'd be here. Do you know what I mean? 15 years ago, I am so blessed, right, that my husband come into my life and he just looked after me, because I think if there was a darker path and there was an option to go down it, that's the way I would have went. Whatever that would have looked like, I would have, because I'm one of them. If someone goes, don't put your hand in the fire, I'm going to put my hand in. And
Mhm.
it's, I just can't help it. It is the way it is the way it is. So I'm just sort of grateful for that experience and manifesting my husband, and that's changed. Literally one night has changed the trajectory
Yeah,
of my life.
yeah. And obviously, you owe him everything then. And I'm sure you
I absolutely do.
tell him that. And I'm sure, obviously, you have done for him what he did for you. You know, there's a reason why you're together, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I hope so. And I hope so. But yeah, he's just a wonderful man. I've been married for 11 years in May, and it was the best decision in my life. I got married at 23, and honestly, if anyone was to say, "Oh, would you do it again?" in a heartbeat,
Yeah,
like I couldn't agree more. Get married, have kids. That's it. That's the real winner. That's the
yeah,
real win at life, innit? You know
yeah.
what I mean?
No,
To
for
be able to
sure.
see your grandkids and be there, like, just do it. Do it while you're broke. Do it while you've got fuck all. Do it while you're round bed. Do it. Just do it, because you only get one life, and your kids only get one childhood, and they only get one mum and dad. So
Yeah,
just do it as much as you can.
yeah, 100%. And talking to the kids, what has motherhood taught you that nothing else could?
It humbles you, like, nobody's business, isn't it? Like, it's like, oh my God. Like, even to the point where years ago, certain things I'd go, oh, that's disgusting. I would never do that. I'd never do that. I'd never feed my children that. I'd never. So what a load of bollocks. Of course,
Yeah,
they're going to have chicken nuggets. All my kids were breastfed, and I was dead against formula. I've had to give formula because I've had to,
yeah,
for weight gain and this, that, and the next thing. And sometimes you just got to leave the house, and the baby's got to be with
fed.
someone else,
Yeah, yeah,
and the baby's got to be fed. And and even last year, I was like, I can't, I can't. I mean, mum was like, what is wrong with you, Amy? And just stop it. The baby's not going to die. It's just
yeah,
having a bit of formula. And I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh my God. But it does humble you, all them things you say you're not going to do. And don't get me wrong, I try and live a good life. I try and feed them the best food, home cooked meals, breastfed, all of that. Take them out, they don't have iPads, all of that. But then there's still pain in the asses.
Yeah.
Like, they still don't go to bed on time. They
Yeah,
still kill each other in the morning. They still don't, I could get them up at 6 o'clock and they wouldn't be ready for 8:30 to leave the house. It's still normal life, isn't it? It's
yeah.
still motherhood.
It is,
And
and kids are just incredible, aren't they? They honestly are. Like the things they say, like I just feel like I want to put a microphone on Phoebe and just record everything she says, because I like write little things down when I can to remind
yeah,
myself, because there's that many things that she says that just make me howl, or that I'm just like, what the hell? Like literally yesterday, this is so boring for anyone listening, sorry. Literally yesterday I was putting her to bed and I went to get changed in my jammies because I was like, well, I'm going to get
yeah,
changed. I normally do and whatever. I don't know, she had a meltdown. She's like, you can't wear your jammies. And I was like, why not? It's bedtime. I'm going to put you to bed. I'm going to read you some storybooks and then I'm going to go to bed. And she wouldn't let me in her bedroom. She was like, no, you cannot come in my bedroom with your jammies on. And then she made me take my jammy bottoms off. She's like, you can come in now if you take your jammy bottoms off. And I was like, right, well, I want to get this bedtime done because I want to eat and, all the
So the
normal
pants are
bits.
coming off.
So my jammy bottoms are coming off. So I sat in her bed reading her storybooks with a jammy top on, no bottoms on. And then she was like, you can put your jammy bottoms on now. And I was like, right, 2 minutes ago, you were on the floor screaming, crying that I had jammies on. And now I can wear them again. It was the weirdest thing. But only a 3-year-old can make me as a 38-year-old adult conform. I was like, okay, jammies off, jammies on. But it's crazy, isn't it?
Oh, it is. So when my eldest was born, not Charlie, the next one's on.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to set up an Instagram. And everyone was like, why? And it was just for a digital memento.
Yeah.
For me to be able to see it back in years to come. And I've kept it going, obviously, since she was born. And it's just so lovely. Some of it's got a bit of content on it now, but it's just like pictures of them growing up. And it's beautiful. And it's dead raw. And it's dead just like messy and, all that shit. And nothing's picture perfect. Or unless we're going out on a special day and then they all have matching outfits on. But otherwise, it's just messy hair, messy face, chocolate, everything. But it's all about the fun in it.
Yeah.
It's all about the dash, not the cash.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that idea of Instagram. Like, that's really cute. And I think when you've got your photo album on your phone, when you're flicking back through the years and when you do put things on social media, you're not doing it for likes. You're doing it so, like you said, at any given time, or check a memory up and be like, what you were doing 2 years ago. And you're like, oh, wow, it's like a really quick snapshot, isn't it? I don't post as much as I used to. And I'm like, oh, God, it's such a shame that I'm kind of not finding the time to post as much. But I'm like, they're on my phone. At any given time, I can make a little reel or I can put a photo album together. And like you said, it's that kind of like backdrop to motherhood and to childhood. And I think as kids, we didn't have that much. We've got a few pictures of ourselves, haven't we, that mum and dad would take. And now I take 20 odd pictures of Phoebe going to a disco for an hour. Like, that's how obsessed I am. Do you know what I mean?
In all different positions.
Yeah.
Twirl, do a twirl. And they're like, Mum, enough.
Yeah, oh God, literally. For about 18 months of Phoebe's life, every time I got my camera out, no, like the last few months, she's back on to letting me take pictures and videos, but literally I'd have to like position the camera up somewhere we shouldn't see it, else I'd never get pictures of her. Nightmare. But yeah.
I love it.
Honestly. But yeah, obviously it's been such a lovely chat with you. Honestly, it's been amazing.
It's been lovely, girls. Thank you so much for having me and being able to share it. It's been so lovely.
And sorry about my emotional.
Oh, it's not.
I did. Obviously, it's it's raw, isn't it? And I think what you were saying hit me, and I think that from like mother to mother, it was just one of those things where I was just picturing it, and I was like, I just couldn't keep the emotions in, which isn't a bad thing because it's
not. It's not. And sometimes I don't really cry about it. I only get emotional like on his birthday and his anniversary. But even like when I went into neonatal and I sat with a mum, I was pregnant and I sat with her and they were saying like her first baby had died and this was her second baby and he was going to die and I was sat next to her.
God.
And I was like, and I remember just like shaking and thinking, I'm not the right person to be here right now. I wasn't very senior at the time. And I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? And then I was like, I don't need to be senior to be here. I need to be here. I need to be woman to woman. I need to be holding her hand. I just need to be here.
Yeah.
Because mum, there was no one there. The baby's dad was there. It was just me and her and the doctor telling her this news. And it was fucking horrific. And she was screaming and howling. And I remember thinking, what if that happens to me again? What if I can't do this? I'm going to. And then I was like, if that ever happened to me again, I don't think I could see another day. I probably would, but in my mind, I've said to me, I can't do that again, and that's why that was partly the reason as well. I'm not taking a termination, and I'm not taking the risk of having an amnio because I can't do that again.
Yeah.
And then intentionally,
know what it felt like. Yeah.
I was like, imagine the guilt. Like I'd be wrecked with guilt, thinking, I've just done this and this is my fault. And then I wouldn't be able to live myself.
Yeah.
And he was like, absolutely. Yeah, I
God.
mean, it is bonkers, isn't it?
It's not bonkers. I
just-
think I think you're absolutely valid to have those thoughts because you've been through it once and you never want to be
Yeah.
in that space again. And that poor woman who was going through it for a second time, but you
Oh,
being
it's
there would have
awful.
been the support that she needed, and especially because you've already experienced it. And I bet that was really comforting for a lot of people when you were going around the ward and you were speaking to them. And I bet you shared your
Yeah.
story quite a lot, didn't you?
It's a little bit of a weird one, to be honest, because some parents, it depends on the person. So, like, I've got no problem with sharing my story as you know. However, sometimes it's not appropriate for the parents. Do you know what I mean? Not everyone wants to hear my story. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever that may be. Sometimes when you're going through it, you actually don't want to hear it. Now, so some people it's appropriate, and some people it's just not appropriate. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially people like sometimes twins die, and on neonatal units that happens quite a lot. And sometimes they'll just take the one baby home, and their other baby's passed away. That's an example. Like, I wouldn't share there because it wouldn't be appropriate because I haven't lived that experience. I haven't. I haven't had twins. I haven't had twins on a neonatal unit and one's died, and that wouldn't be. You know what I mean? So there's things like that. But then there's times where I've shared it and it's been dead appropriate, and you know, I've had a lot as an adult. I've been around a lot of baby loss, even to the point where my best friend next door, her foster son died, and they were going to adopt him, and it was just awful. They were such a lovely family, and it was so lovely. Like, it was lovely in a nice way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's hard to explain, isn't it?
I mean, I think you've done a pretty good job throughout this whole episode. And I think I'll probably tee up the end of the episode now as if Lucy never disappeared.
Okay.
So thank you obviously so much for sharing your incredible story. And we ask all of our guests this one question, and we really want to know, who is Amy becoming now?
Hopefully, the best version of myself for me children that I can be. I just getting 1% better every day. That might look different on each day, but
Oh, I love that. I love that
that's
small incremental 1% as well. No, honestly, it's been the most amazing story, and it's been emotional. It's been obviously fun at times, and we've obviously divulged and gone off on tangents. It's been inspiring. It's been everything we love Becoming Lucy to be, and you've just been a fantastic guest. So thank you so much for sharing your story, Amy. We are super, super grateful.
Girls, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm so grateful. Thank you for having me on. It's been lovely speaking to you both.
No, thank you. And I think it just shows to anyone that you don't have to rush healing. Again, helping others, listening to your gut instinct as well. Amy, like you say, for all your pregnancies, like, you know what's right. And I think that just goes in life, doesn't it? You know what's right for you. Slow down and listen. And if speak to God, speak to ChatGPT, whoever you do.
Just a higher power of any sort.
And
I do think it is like the higher power a lot of the time. I mean, I know we joke about ChatGPT, but the advice isn't always a given for a robot. I think it is by speaking, like you say, if it's God, the universe, Buddha, whoever you want to speak to, it's that intuition that your self-conscious is kind of giving back to you to say that you're doing the right thing, isn't it? And going forward and going from there. But like I say, it's been a pleasure. And on that note, I will say it's a goodbye from me.
A goodbye from me.
And a goodbye,
from me.
Yes.
Bye, girls.
See you later.